My husband woke up because our computer was in our room at that time. And he was like, "What are you doing?" I just knew on that day that what I was doing that night would make us millionaires, that would make it so that my husband could retire and spend more time with our kids, because he's always wanted to be a dad. Being a dad is like everything to him.
This is CIA, Contagious Influencers of America. I'm David Sams.
And I'm Victoria Robinson.
You're the mom of 4 girls.
4 girls, that's right. All grown now.
So how do you do what you do, or how did you do what you did? Is that right? With 4 girls, and you were...
I've always been an entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur.
And a businesswoman. It was just balance. It's balance. You have to find the balance in being the mom, being a businesswoman. And if you love both of them enough, you figure it out.
Now, did you find it was easier figuring out in the balance thing being single or married?
To be honest, and this is no knock on my ex now because we're very friendly, but I was single even when I was married. He was never around. So I was a single mom that couldn't date.
Okay. So you've been through the mommy entrepreneur thing and raising the daughters, the babies at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we have with us somebody who is, she's just a superstar.
She is.
Doing
She's
just
knocking
that.
it out of the park.
She has created a company, multiple companies,
Mm-hmm.
and she's doing hundreds, okay? And I underline hundreds,
Right.
of millions of dollars of business a year.
That's correct.
Her book is called Boss Up. This ain't your mama's business book or grandmama's business. What is it, Dave? Mom's.
It's mom's. This ain't your mom's business book.
Yeah, this ain't your mom's business book. And we're talking about Lindsay Teague Moreno.
Yeah, what an incredible woman. And her story's fantastic. It's inspiring, it's inspirational, and she's helping other women. She's not just hogging all that information, David, that she's got and that she's applied to her own life. She's using it to help other people.
I did not get to do this in person. I really do not like doing interviews unless they're sitting right across from me. But I was just so into this interview. We did it via Skype, okay? But she brought it to life, and she really fired me up. And she gave me a lot of ideas, even though her whole thing is empowering women and moms. But man, I felt on fire after I was talking to her. So let's listen in on the interview. I'm really intrigued with your story and how you got to do what you're doing. And you're what, 3 girls, right?
Yep, I've got 3 girls, twins that are 10 and an 8-year-old.
How do you manage it all?
Honestly, I don't. There's only so many hours a day. So I always tell people you got to choose what you're going to let go of. And so I'm really deliberate about the things that I spend my time on and the things that I don't spend my time on, which a lot of people do. So, I will find people to help me get my house together and do all this stuff. Like if I've got people coming over, I've got no problem finding help to get me do those things so that I can spend my time on the things that are important to me. And so I don't do as much laundry as most moms probably do. I definitely make my husband help me with those kind of things. So, I choose to let a lot of things that a lot of moms do, like play dates and a lot of birthday parties for my kids. I let those things go. They're not things that I think are a priority in our lives. And so I choose to let those things go in honor of the things that I want to say yes, a big yes to.
So take me back a few years. Take me back 5 years or so ago when you had this major revelation.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me what happened.
Okay. So, I'm meant to be an entrepreneur. Since I was 23 years old, I've owned my own business in some capacity. And, I just never got one off the ground where it was going to support me and support a family financially. It was something that I did that was fun, and it brought in enough money to make ends meet, but it wasn't something that was going to make us, millionaires down the road. I started in photography. I did freelance design, that kind of stuff. And then, my mom died when I was 30. My baby had just been born. Kennedy, my youngest, was just born about 3 weeks after my mom died, just totally out of nowhere, of a massive heart attack that was stress induced from when she was in her 30s. She had a heart attack that was unknown, built up in her heart. And then when she was 53, she just dropped dead of a heart attack based on this scar tissue that was in her heart. And figuring that all out, getting the autopsy back and figuring out what I know now, I knew that I was going to have to do something drastically different so that if I die at 53, my kids don't feel like I feel about my mother's life, which was that she never got to live it. All of her somedays are still on the table. Someday I'm going to go do this. Someday I'm going to do that. And that someday never came for her. And I didn't want that to be my story. So I kind of put my head down and started thinking really seriously about what kind of business I could start that would allow me the freedom to say yes more when my kids are young, when I'm young, before I retire. And so this business kind of fell into my lap. It was an essential oil business that I started, and it kind of fell into my lap. In fact, it kind of chased me down the road where I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to get involved in an MLM. And then one day, I call it my God moment. God woke me up in the middle of the night and said, no, you're going to do this, and you're going to do it like this, and you're going to do it your way, in a different way that you've ever seen. And here's some ideas for you. Get up out of bed and start writing them down. And that's exactly what I did. I got out of bed in the middle of the night. My husband woke up because our computer was in our room at that time. And he was like, what are you doing? And I just was, on fire. I felt like just like fire was shooting out of my head. I just knew on that day that what I was doing that night would make us millionaires, that would make it so that my husband could retire and spend more time with our kids, because he's always wanted to be a dad. Being a dad is like everything to him. And I knew that this was going to be the way that would be able to do that. And so I kind of studied what other people were doing in the industry and figured out what it was that gave me a bad feeling about that industry. And I set out to do the exact opposite of that. And I really think that was God directed, and it was God placed in my life.
So those oils you were making, were those CBD induced?
No, they're essential oils. So essential oils would be any kind of, like, it's really just the essence of a plant. So when you drill down a plant and you distill it and you get the oil that comes off the top, you pull the oil off of the water, and those things go into a little tiny bottle, and they can be used for a multitude of things. I personally was looking for something to help my family remain healthy while also not putting a bunch of chemicals down their throat, because I think we're a lot more conscious about the things that we feed our kids, especially once we have them. I know I became conscious about the things I was eating as soon as I had kids, and I thought, oh, well, I can't just blindly give this stuff to my kids anymore. I need to look what's in the ingredients. I need to look what I'm giving them. And so I was looking for some alternative, some natural stuff to be able to give my kids to help them make it through their days. And, essential oils just kind of fell into my lap, and I had such a great experience with them that I loved them. And I was first a avid consumer, and then the business kind of just followed me down the road.
So you went from photography, design, now all of a sudden you're into the essential oil business. Mm-hmm. How did you make that leap? For
me, entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship. Running your own business, I think no matter what industry it's in, has the same core components. There's 10 of them that I've discovered along my way on my journey to success. There's 10 philosophies, and that's inside of Boss Up. That's the basis of Boss Up. I can tell you the 10 philosophies are all things that women, even men, women especially though, because that's my target. Those are the people that I love. They're the people that I have a heart for, are women, especially women with kids, where you can apply these philosophies to any business across any industry, and it will apply. Things like think long-term about your business, be unapologetically yourself in your business, be brand consistent, keep learning as you go, and treat your business like a real business.
What is the one that you would say is the foundation of all 10?
So for me, the foundation and the one that's extremely, extremely important is being unapologetically yourself. It's being authentic to who you are, who God created you to be, owning the things that you have and owning the things that you don't have. So as far as skills go, women especially tend to value the things that other women have, skills and gifts that other women have over the ones they have themselves. And my message is, you need to double down on the things that you have, the skills that you have, the things you're naturally gifted at. And maybe you've forgotten what those things are. I'm here to help you remember. Because if you've got a longing in your heart to do something, that's outside of just being a mom, which is what I had. I was sitting at home with my kids and I thought, oh, when they place these babies in my lap, all the things that I ever wanted professionally are going to be gone out the window. I'm not going to want those things anymore because my babies are going to be my everything. And when that didn't happen, there was a lot of shame around that for me. And so for me, I really want to peel back the stigma of this pretend fake life that I think social media perpetuates, that we fall into in social media, believing that there's perfection out there, and realizing that if you could double down on your imperfections, that's actually the thing that's going to connect your audience to you, connect your clients to you, the thing that's going to make them trust you. When I tell people, hey, there's all this great stuff going on in my life, that's all fine and great. But when I say, hey, we're not so different because here's a lot of the bad things that are going on, people have an ability to connect to my story and then trust me, so that when I say, hey, I want you to buy this product, it's going to be good for your business, it's going to be good for you, they trust me to say yes to that because they've seen that we're alike in a lot of areas that are hard to talk about.
Okay, so if the foundation is authenticity, and I understand what you're saying about putting it out there, but that's got to be a scary place. Anytime you put it all out there, I mean, really put it out there, okay, is the fear factor. How did you overcome the fear to do just that? I'm an observer of people, and I've watched a lot of entrepreneurs get to that success plateau, that thing where, hey, I'm making my millions, and they were unfulfilled. They were unhappy. And I feel like that's because they've built all of this fulfillment predicated on what other people think about them. And they're so consumed with, am I doing the right thing? What is this person thinking about me? That they miss opportunities, and they miss opportunities to feel joy in their business. And it was extremely difficult to go forward and say, hey, I'm here to say, my name's Lindsay. And on some days, I don't love being a mom. Being a stay-at-home mom is not fulfilling for me. There are things outside of this house that I want to do, and my dreams are as important as every member of this family. And moms don't often stand up and say that stuff. There's a lot of moms that'll throw a lot of rocks at you for saying stuff like that. Oh, your kids should be everything. The time goes by so fast. Make that your number one priority. But I don't feel like that's my calling in life. I love my kids. I don't want to trade them for anything. But my calling in life is not to be there to put a Band-Aid on every boo-boo and make sure that I'm constantly hovering over my kids. I feel like God's called me to something different, and I think that's okay. And as soon as I was able to separate my calling, the thing that I feel like I'm here on earth to do, from my role as a mother and what other people think, it's easy to say, that's great for you, that's not great for me. And it's easy for me to say, hey, I'm going to put this content out here for people who want to listen to it, who need it, who I feel like can help. And if anybody likes it, awesome. If they don't, too bad. That's not for me to decide. What other people's opinions are not my business when it comes to me, right? That's their thing, and that's about them. Well, I guess the proof is in the pudding. I mean, let's dig deep here, and that is number one, you make over 7 figures a year, right?
I do, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Number two, you have 3 daughters.
I do.
What are their ages and how are they doing?
I have twins that are 10 and one that's 8, and they are amazing. They struggled a little bit in school this year, so we made a transition back to homeschool this year, to be able to kind of drill down this is the way this person learns, this is the way this kid learns, this is the way this kid learns. Let's teach them all in the way they learn at home, rather than trying to fit them into a school system that works around them. That's been a really great blessing. They're doing amazing. They're loving what they do. First of all, you're running this 7-figure business, and now you're homeschooling your kids. Oh, I mean, let's not get it twisted. I'm not homeschooling them. I am not homeschooling them, but we did hire a tutor that comes to help homeschool them.
Okay.
So yeah, that is not something that's in the cards for me to do. I think I would end up in a fight with my kids if I tried to homeschool them. And I love being with my kids, and I want to continue to love it. So homeschooling is not something that I personally will want to do for them. But I will find somebody that will do it for them. And my business has given me the opportunity to say yes to that. We can afford to have somebody come and tutor them during the day so that we can meet them where they're at as far as their education goes.
And since your business took off from being a startup or a hobby to what it is today, what has been the impact on your relationship with your husband?
It's been super good. Okay, so my husband worked full time as a college president when I first started my business, and he was super not happy. I'll be honest with you, not happy when I was like, "Hey, I've decided, I'm going to stay home with the kids during the day, but I'm also going to work at the same time and try to build this business." And really, it was my fault for not communicating properly with him about what I was really getting out of this. I never said to him, "Hey, I'm not happy being fulfilled. I'm not being fulfilled at home right now, and I need something, or I'm going to go crazy." And because I didn't say it to him like that, he figured, oh, well, she thinks I'm not making enough money, or fill in the blank of whatever insecurity was there. And so as soon as we had a real conversation about it, and I told him, hey, look, here's the plan. Here's where I think we can go. Let me show you some numbers. He was on board. So about a year after I started my business, I was able to retire him from his business, from his company that he was working at. And he works the back end of my business. So we are a couple that lives together, parents together, is married, and also works together and owns all of our businesses together. We've got about 9 spin-off businesses from our first business. And he's got a hand in every single one. There's no way I could do anything that I do without him keeping me organized, because I tend to be like a creative is, more scatterbrained. So there's definitely a set of challenges that comes with working with your spouse, but we've been really diligent about creating lanes and being really specific about our job tactics or job titles and job responsibilities, so that we don't step on each other's toes. Because I find that the times that we don't get along, either we have some personal stuff that's going on that we're bringing into business, or we're stepping on each other's toes in business. I'm trying to do his job, or he's trying to do mine. So we're really, really specific with each other and talk a lot about our roles in our business and what lanes we're going to stay in.
Now, your book, Boss Up, first of all, I see all these boss books out there, what Lady Boss, boss seems to be the big word, especially with women's books, right? What makes yours different?
Well, first, I think it's important to qualify the people you take advice from. I think there's a lot of people writing books out there that have not actually done the work and seen the success. They haven't seen the fruits of the labor yet, right? They're writing the book, but they don't actually have their hand in the business that they're writing the book about. And everything that I've written on comes from my own personal experience. It's the stuff that I've learned. So my essential oils business this year will bring in $350 million this year. And there's 550,000 families that are involved in that business.
Wait a minute. What was that number again?
550,000 families and $350 million we'll do this year in business. So that experience and managing that, leading that, in working through that, in building that, is inside this book. So that's the first thing that makes it different, is that I've actually done it and I've been there. The second thing that makes it different is that it's funny. This book is not your mama's business book. That's the subtitle, and that's what I mean. This is not your mama's business book. This is a different kind of business book where you're entertained as you learn. I'm trying to trick you into learning as I entertain you with stories and information about my past and what I've been through and what I've seen, to help you make it through the book. Women do not have time. We do not have time for fluff. We've got other things going on. We're busy all the time. And so I get straight to the heart of the matter. I'm not going to use 400 words where 20 will do. So I'm going to get straight to the point here. I'm going to entertain you. I'm going to make you laugh, but I'm also going to make you think and use your brain to think through what you really want and how to make what you want happen. Whatever your version of success is, I want that for you. I don't want you to be a version of me. I want you to be the best version of you. And that is in this book. How to do that is in this book.
Why do women make such great entrepreneurs?
Because we have great hearts. Women are unique in that if you look at the businesses that women run, they're usually service type businesses, or they're caregiving, they're health and wellness types of businesses. They're businesses where we can actually help people because that's our heart. That's what we care about. That's why I think we have a propensity to want to raise children. We love taking care of people. And I think in entrepreneurship, that is the secret ingredient. Being able to actually care, put yourself in your customer's shoes, be able to empathize with their situation, and then give them some value for their money is what we need. And women have amazing creative minds. And I think what often happens is we get trapped at home. We're stuck. We're handcuffed to, I just drive carpool all day. That's what I do. And I'll think about what I want once my kids are gone. And I don't want that. I want us to be able to make ourselves equal to our family as far as what we want. And I want us to be able to run our race while also encouraging our kids and letting our kids see what hard work looks like. So I don't think the business industry is catering to us properly. And I am setting out to change that.
You said that you had a God moment in all of this. Oprah once told me she listens to is the whisper of God in her ear. You know, there's no big shout out. There's no big, God told me to go do this. It's just listen for the whisper. What was it like for you when you had that God moment?
So look, I often tend to talk too much. I've got too much going on. I'm focused on other things, so much so that if God wants something from me, he has to like say it in a booming voice where he wakes me up in the middle of the night where I'm not distracted and says, get up out of bed and do this now. And for me, it was this feeling of this can't not work. It was a feeling of I am so excited to do this that I'm willing to put in ridiculous hours. I worked probably 100 hours a week for the first 2 years of my business. And it was a stretch. It was a burden on my family. It was a burden on my friends. It was a burden on everything that I love and know. But it was for something that I felt I was led to do. It feels like putting your chest up, your shoulders back, your head up, and running as fast as you can, and feeling fulfilled in the process of doing that. There was a special kind of confidence that came with this moment. Right after that moment, there was a special kind of confidence where I can say without a doubt and truly, I knew that this business was going to be the answer yes for me down the road, so that I could say yes to whatever I feel called to do, so that my future isn't my mom's. My story isn't my mom's story. And I just knew. And that's the only way that I can explain that is that God put that confidence, peace, direction inside of me. And all I had to do was take the step through the door. And as soon as I did that, I mean, I was off to the races, and I did not stop for the first 2 years.
What role in the success of your life, in the success of your business, does the power of storytelling play?
It's extremely big. In fact, one of the success philosophies is about using your story to connect through feeling. For me, I mean, science tells us that our brains are hardwired to desire story, that we do this thing in our brains without even having to try, where if I tell you a story, the parts of my brain that light up are the parts of your brain that light up. We can have a similar experience if I tell you a story. So for me, everything about your business has to be a story. If you want people to get on board and you want people to buy from you, you need to tell a compelling story. You need to make your experience their experience. And that doesn't happen when you spout off facts and figures. You know, I can tell you, this is how much business we do. You want to do business with me? Or I can just tell you, this is the effect that this product has had on my life. Here's the value in your life, I believe. Here's the link to go get it, right? Or, come to the store and I can get it for you. Whatever it is, whatever your business is, I think the key is telling really good, compelling stories and allowing people to share the emotion that you have around your business, around your product, around your service, whatever it is.
When you were growing up, did you face a lot of people who would just say to you, you're just a girl?
You know, not so much when I was growing up. I didn't feel it, but I'm not sure if I was even aware that I was different than a boy when I was younger, to be honest with you. I'm not sure that was even in my head. I do know that there are certain things that my mom would say, the boys are going to do the labor jobs. You stay inside and, do the dishes for chores, that kind of stuff. The first time I ever came up against this, like, you're a woman, you can't do this thing, was when I was working for a Fortune 1000 company. And I was a salesperson for this company. My sales numbers were off the charts, really, really high. And I was applying for a promotion within the first year of that business. And there was about 40 other people that applied for that promotion against me. But I knew my numbers were better, and I knew I crushed the interview. And it was kind of a boys' club at that company where the boys kind of led it. It was the boys kind of ran it, and the boys just promoted each other. And so there was only one other female manager at that company. And I remember when I was offered the position of the promotion, the manager at that time sat me down. He kind of stood over me and he was like, "You're not going to make me regret this, are you?" And that was the first time I realized, oh, he thinks I can't do this because I'm a girl. And my response, rather than, shrinking back, is to puff up a little bit and say, okay, well, I'll show you. And so that was my very first experience with You Can't Do This. My second and third and fourth and lots of other experiences came after I had a large business. And I noticed that men would tend to want to talk to my husband rather than me about numbers. My husband's great because he'll always say, you're talking to the wrong department here. That's my wife's department. You need to talk to her about that. And so he always directs them back. But there is a propensity for people to want to talk to men about things business-wise. And I think that's just because our norm is that men are the ones that start the business. Men are the ones that work. Women stay home. We're changing that as we go. The women in the workforce is growing every single year. But I've never felt like I can't do this because I'm a girl, and I've never let somebody else make me feel like I can't do this because I'm a girl. I think it might be harder for me because I'm a girl, and I'm okay with that. I'm up for the challenge.
There's somebody listening right now who is thinking, oh, gosh, I've got this big idea, I've got this big dream, but by golly, I just feel there's some resistance. They're going through this guilt thing. They can't overcome the guilt idea of doing what you did. And that is just saying, hey, I'm going for it. I know what my place is. I know where God wants me to go. Bam, the lightning bolt hits. Can you give that one person right now who's listening some encouragement on how to get over the guilt?
Yeah, I for sure can. The first thing that's awesome to do is just to own it. Hey, I'm feeling this guilt, and then realize that that's self-inflicted. Any guilt that you feel, any feeling that you feel is self-inflicted. No one can make you feel a certain way. That's all you. So first of all, you need to own it. That's yours. That's how you're feeling, right? And I don't know who you're comparing yourself to. You may be comparing yourself to somebody. Maybe somebody else is mothering at you or doing a business at you, I like to say. Maybe somebody that you're following is making you feel scared. But own your emotions. They're yours. And second of all, if there's something that you want, you've got this idea and it's here, it's there on purpose. It's given to you on purpose. And if you don't harbor that or make that into something, that idea is going to move somewhere else. That idea is somebody else will do it, right? It's like all those people that are like, oh, this was my idea. I saw it on TV like 3 years later. Well, you never did anything with the idea. So somebody else is going to do it. So if you've got the idea, it's your duty to run after that. And I believe it's our duty as mothers to let our kids see us do the thing that God put into our heart. And if that is run a business, that's awesome. If that's be with your kids all the time and be there and be a stay-at-home mom and love every day of it, or even not love every day of it, but take it seriously like it's your job and this is your duty, then that's okay too. But specifically for women who feel like there's something more out there for them, there's something more for them. They're meant to do more. They're meant to contribute in some different way. That's put into you on purpose. And that is meant for you to listen to. Let the guilt go. Your kids are going to go to therapy anyway. Your kids you're going to wreck them. If you're the perfect mom, imagine the therapy sessions down the road where they're like, well, my mom was perfect. I can never live up to her. If you're the worst mom, there's going to be therapy sessions about that. So you might as well do the thing that you feel like you're meant to do here. And if that's try to do both, juggle both at the same time, it can be done. It can be done. You just have to choose to let go of other things. And one of those things might be the emotional baggage that you're carrying with you. How much time are you spending thinking about all the ways that you're not measuring up as a mom? Stop that. It doesn't matter. It's not real. That's self-inflicted. That's all in your head. Your kids are going to want to see you being a happy and fulfilled mother rather than the mother that's not happy, not fulfilled, and just waiting for them to leave so they can find themselves again. That never works out.
That's powerful. Let's talk about your podcast. What makes it different from the other 750,000 podcasts out there?
Mine's short. So like I said, I always try to keep in mind that women don't have a lot of time. So all of my podcast episodes are under 20 minutes. They're not your typical interview style. It's just me giving a little bit of tips or tricks or something that I've learned or something that's been on my heart or something that I feel like I can teach someone or impart some value on. So they're all about business, but they are also, I think, a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Some of them will make you laugh. Some of them will make you cry. I've done both on those podcasts. Really, they're to get in, give you some information, and let you get back to work. As women, I think we get so consumed in getting information and putting off real work by saying, well, I need to listen to this. I need to watch this. I need to get all the information before I can actually use any of it, instead of poking the box, like Seth Godin says, and trying different things and seeing what works. We allow ourselves to put off what we should do through education. And I don't want that. I don't want to be a part of that. So I'm going to give you 20 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes of really good information about something that you can use right now to change in your business. And then I want you to go get to work, because I can't buy your product if you're not working to make it, sell it, and get it out there. And I want to buy your product. I think women make amazing products. I think they understand me better than anybody else. And I want to buy their products or their service, but they have to work to do that. So podcast episodes are short. They're going to be entertaining, and they're going to have some real world advice for you to get out and actually apply right away, rather than these big grandiose ideas about, let's think about this that we'll be using 20 years down the road. No. I want to know, what can I use right now today to affect my business?
What kind of response have you had to the podcast? What kind of traction are you getting?
Oh my gosh, it's been crazy. We've had about over 6 million listens in about a year and a half now that I've been doing it. I always am trying to think of ways that I can give value to people as a value added without them having to pay for it. And the podcast was one way I could do that.
So what is it that you want?
I want to change the narrative around how we treat female entrepreneurs, how we support female entrepreneurs, what we allow. I want to see more husbands support their wives into entrepreneurship. I want to see more women put their needs equal to their family's needs, because I have a heart for what I saw my mom go through, which was, she raised us and she spent all this time raising us. And then when we were out of the house was when she felt like she finally got to start living her life, right? She lost a bunch of weight and she looked amazing. She got to work out every day. She was working. She loved what she did. And I saw her enjoy her life after we were gone rather than when we were home. And I don't want that for my kids. I don't want them to say, well, my mom enjoyed her life when we were gone. I guess that means we were the drag on her life. I want them to know I enjoyed every bit, the width, the height, the breadth of my entire life, while they were here and while they're not. And I don't think I'm alone. I think there's a lot of women who feel like, oh, nope, I got to put my kids first. But truly and honestly, being there all the time and hovering over our kids and creating perfect paths for them because we're always here is not helping them. It's not making them more successful or making them more equipped for life. But I feel like watching you and emulating you do the thing that you feel like you're supposed to do, start a business, really work hard, have grit, see you fail, see you succeed. That's going to teach them more than anything else. And what I want is for other women to believe that their story matters in their kids' lives, in their and in what God has put them here to do.
What you're really saying is equivalent to what we're told when we get on an airplane and the pilot says, hey, if we go down, Mom, you put on your...
Put your mask on first.
Yeah. Yeah. So I get what you're saying, and I think it's just probably a natural instinct to put it on the kid first.
Truly. I think there's a pressure in our society for moms to not only love every second of everything we're doing, but always be there. Never let anything bad happen. Whenever you see a news story where something's gone wrong or a kid gets hurt, where was the mom? Why wasn't the mom there? We can't be there for everything. Things are going to happen. Accidents are going to happen. And I feel like, we can't fill our kids' tanks with an empty tank ourselves. There's a gap here. We should have as many female women-run businesses as we have men-run businesses. It's not for lack of ideas or lack of ability to get them done. And I want Boss Up to be a shortcut to that. Hey, here's the things you're going to have to learn so that I can make this easier for you, so that you can do the things you want to do and raise your kids at the same time.
The book is called Boss Up. This ain't your mama's business book.
Yep.
Well, I personally can't wait to get my hands on it. As a matter of fact, are you going to do an audio version?
I did do an audio version, and there's a bunch of extra stuff in the audio version. Plus, you'll get to hear me laugh at all the stupid stories.
Well, that's
So,
that's the version I want. I love books, but boy, there's nothing like audio. And with your enthusiasm and your extra spark and your laughter, I want to hear that part. You know, I can't hear that in a book, but I can on the audiobook.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're going to love it. As I was reading it, I was like, yeah, this is good, because I kind of took a couple of months off from reading it. I just read it so much as we were editing it and all that kind of stuff. So I took a couple months off, and I just was fresh eyes on it when I read it through for the audio version. It took about 3 days. Each chapter at the end, I was like, okay, this is good. I like it. This is going to help people. It's funny. It's entertaining. I like it. So I'm happy about it.
Well, Lindsay, thank you so much for joining me and for encouraging us today.
Of course. I'm super, super excited. Thanks for having me.
So, Victoria, are you ready to go out there and hit a grand slam? You have a new idea?
Hey, I'm ready to go make even a fraction, 100 million of her 300 million. I have a couple of ideas, and I'm afraid to say them here because I don't want anybody to take them.
The thing that really came through to me was how she had to overcome the guilt thing about being a mom or being the best mom. And she finally decided, you know what, unless I'm at my best and unless I'm really feeling it, I cannot share that with others.
Right. And I applaud her for that because so many people want to tell you how to do something that they haven't even done themselves. They wanted to show you how to overcome something that they haven't overcome. But she wanted to wait and make sure that she knew what she was talking about. It gave her more credibility too. And that mom guilt, David, you wouldn't understand it being that you're not a mom. It's tough. 3 of my 4 daughters are moms. And one of them is an incredible businesswoman who's out there growing this multi-million-dollar company of her own. And another daughter who's a nurse has decided to stay home, but then she's got the mom guilt still. So whether you're working or you're not, we can't get away from it, us moms. We just want to make sure we're doing the right thing by our children.
How did you overcome the mom guilt, or do you still have it?
I still have it. I with 4 daughters, one of them's always ticked off at me at one time. I can't remember the last time all 4 of them thought I was pretty cool.
Like what do they get ticked off you about, other than the fact that you're not available to babysit? Although every time I see you on Facebook, you're babysitting. How can you have a life of your own? It seems like you're always with the grandbabies.
That was true at the beginning, but my oldest grandchild now is 10. I have done a very good job over the last few years of balancing that out, and they have too. One of the great things about my girls is even when they would ask me and I started saying, I can't. Even if I could have, but I just wanted a night home alone, they don't ever get angry about it because they want me to have my own life. And as far as what do they get mad at me for? Oh, maybe sometimes I give my opinion when I am not asked.
Sometimes,
David Sams, okay? I'm getting better into my old age. I'm getting wise.
Well, this has been CIA, Contagious Influencers of America, and we are here because we love you and we love putting on this little event each week. We're on all kinds of places now. I think we're everywhere you can find a podcast. But we would love for you to really give us a 5-star review.
Please.
That's really important because we have had nothing but, I believe, 5-star reviews.
Pretty much, and mostly positive things.
But we could certainly use more because we have some big things coming up. So.
Yeah, we're having a great time. And we're not just having a good time. We're bringing you people you want to hear from. And we're not just talking about the surface stuff. We really get in deep with these interviews and you learn who these people really are, not just what they do.
Well, we'll see you next week here on CIA Contagious Influencers of America. And remember to go out there and live that life and live in color because it sure is a lot more fun than living it in black and white. We'll see you next week.